way to show respect to the audience and respect your own business. It was a way to protect it.
And I'm Kayfabe Avenue, and I'm Kayfabe Focus.
It's Kayfabe Avenue. Ladies and gentlemen, heels and faces, casual wrestling fans, and all you smart marks, I'm Kayfabe AJ.
And I'm Kayfabe Focus.
And this is Kayfabe Avenue, and today we're bringing you the AEW Dynamite wrap-up. So we're about a day and change removed from the ending of Dynamite. We had a lot of time to digest what we saw and pretty much gather our thoughts on it. So let's head straight into it. So the way Dynamite opened, I was actually kind of surprised it started with this. So, after the typical intro video and hype up,
Janela.
yeah, they start with the TNT Championship match. Joey Janela versus Darby Allin, the TNT champion. So my first thought was, what the fuck happened to Joey Janela?
What do you mean?
It looks like he ate Marty Scurll. I mean, not Marty Scurll, Marco Stunt.
You mean he always been fat? What are you talking about?
Nah, it's extra visible now.
Nah, he always looked that size. He was never in shape, so I'm kind of confused.
He was never the most fit dude, but you can tell that he's been sitting for a while because the difference between the last time I saw him and this episode, it was a big difference.
You want to know the crazy thing? Joey Janela is still wrestling. He's not sitting anywhere. He wrestles every weekend
for his own promotion. But how is he? Is that really the work rate someone like him kind of needs?
Yeah, because he's doing indies like every weekend and shit like that. And it's not only his own promotion; it's other people's promotion as well. A lot of people don't really think that Joey Janela is someone that's always in demand in the indies, but he's one of those top guys that's kind of like a legend in the indies because of that roof spot and everything, and all the things that he does with GCW and his spring break show. So he's always doing something. And honestly, I really don't see that he got big. I feel like he's the same Joey Janela.
Well, you follow Dark, so you see him a lot more frequently than I do. Yeah. So the difference, visually to me was like really apparent. So compared to you, that you probably are following what he's doing more so on the outside than I am. I can see why you probably would say that, but yeah, it was definitely noticeable. I've even seen on a couple of the boards online, people making mention of this, and they usually do this with Jericho. It's not about body shaming or nothing. It was just like, oh wow, like Joey Janela really had a big difference in appearance. But besides looks and stuff like that, the matchup, what do you think about the actual matchup between these guys?
I think that it was their best match that they had so far, and this feud been spanning for like years in independence. It goes from PWG to like various other promotions, GCW, CZW. Like this match been going on for a couple of years, and I think Darby Allin has the most wins out of both of them between them two. But it's good to see that they're finally giving Joey Janela shine and everything because he doesn't really do much. They have him with Sonny Kiss and he's on Dark, but it's like him with Sonny Kiss. He's not a prominent tag team. He's not even in the top 10 of the tag team. I wouldn't even say he's in the top 15 of the tag teams if you're really thinking about it. Him and Sonny Kiss. So it's good to see him, actually do something, and they also alluded to that in the match, like the past history with Darby Allin and Joey Janela. So that was good to mention and everything. And then this whole match was basically saying that, hey, Joey Janela just ain't no garbage wrestler. He's been in the business for like 20 years, even though he's like what 35 now. So he's a trash veteran, I would say, a real trash veteran. And that's saying a lot, because you know how Joey Janela is and everything with his death matches and different types of styles, whether it be like the Invisible Man or just doing wild, crazy things. That's something that Joey Janela loves to do. But it wasn't, and none of that was in this match. I feel like they basically told Joey, "Hey, you gotta wrestle straight up, make the Darby Allin look good," and they did. There was like a couple of spots where you was like, "Oh wow, that's crazy." Especially, I think they did like a power bomb.
Yeah.
Onto the ramp again, because Darby Allin, he loves doing those spots. So
yeah,
and Joey Janela is always gonna be is always gonna be like, of course we're gonna do that.
This was definitely like the most technical match between the two, or possibly the most technical match I've ever seen them in. Period.
That's because, like I said, they had their feud for years. They know each other very well. It's not like just two random guys just grappling up. They know exactly how each other moves, how to grapple each other, and everything. So that's what made it a great match. I feel like a lot of these wrestlers, they need to start wrestling each other more often, not on the show, but like, get each other's style, because there's so many different styles in AEW. A lot of it's lost in translation because they don't know how to mesh well with the different styles. But with Darby Allin and Joey Janela, that works very well. And I like the finish as well when they did the code red off the top rope, and then coffin drop 1 2 3.
Yeah, I mean, did we ever else for Darby to do to justify him being champion? Because he hasn't even been defending it week in, week out like a Cody Rhodes. Hell, I think by this point, even Brody Lee had more defenses this deep in his reign, and Brody Lee's reign was short.
Yeah.
So that was really my issue. But I'm actually glad I went into it like not expecting much. I knew, obviously, that Joey Janela wasn't gonna win this, but I did enjoy what I did see. It was a really good technical match, which is a rare thing. We usually see Joey Janela and Darby Allin, both of them, on a kind of like a who can out crash test dummy the other. So
they definitely try.
Yeah, so decent match. I probably give this one like a good 7.5, leaning towards the 8.
Yeah, me too.
Just off the strength that it really surprised. I mean, it surprised me because I didn't expect too much from it.
Yeah.
So next up, we have Jon Moxley pretty much addressing Kenta and the attack from last week. Kenta finally surprising AEW fans by appearing on Dynamite. So the Forbidden Gate, the Forbidden Door, or whatever they want to say.
Tony Khan decided to open himself.
Pretty much. New Japan and AEW, whether it's been officially stated or not, they are in partnership. People are still in denial, and that's the most hilarious thing to me.
Yo, that's the funny
just
thing,
because Kenta showed up on Dynamite doesn't mean that they're actually partnered together. What? So they're just gonna sell merch?
Yo, first and foremost is like, I was recently banned from a Facebook group.
You was banned from what?
Yeah, I was banned from a Facebook group for laughing at somebody for saying that, oh, AEW and New Japan didn't have a partnership, and I basically was like, ha ha ha, and and I'm like, who cares, right? Do bad me, do bad me from this group. I'm like, I don't care about it. You act like there's not a million wrestling groups, motherfucker.
Yeah.
And it's like it's still in denial. It's like, yo, even New Japan's Twitter account is tweeting out AEW. When was the last time you saw New Japan tweet something about Ring of Honor?
Never.
But what about
Never.
CMLL?
I don't remember that either. God honest truth.
The only time that they tweet out CMLL is when they're doing Fantastica Mania or War of the Worlds. But other than that, they don't mention Ring of Honor. They don't mention CMLL.
Yeah.
But they mention AEW. So it's like how much more of a foot, how much more feet do you want in your mouth before you decide to gag?
Listen, this is why, like, the wrestling fandom is a lot like these DC versus Marvel fans. Everything is bad, but they continue to watch. Everything is trash, but I'm still gonna tune in. These people are speaking just to have an opinion at this point. They're not trying to put any facts or any logical thought behind the shit, and it's hilarious. This is why after the shows and after a lot of these events, I do look at the boards just to see what the conversation is, and the fact that people still think there's no partnership going on. Ladies and gentlemen, people do not just lend talent for the sake of lending talent. There has to be a mutual interest. There has to be something going on behind the scenes that benefits both companies. And people forget New Japan has a United States branch that really isn't rocking right now because of the pandemic. So what better way to keep that branch functioning than have Kenta on AEW TV where he has to face the champion? Not only that, it looked good finally seeing Mox with the IWGP Championship on TV. Like, I'm sick and tired.
That's what I've been saying. Like, they need to bring the other belts from the other promotions that they have with them. Let them. They have numerous partnerships. Show them. Show the AAA Mega Champion or whatever, or show motherfucking IWGP Championship. Show the NWA whatever, or show whatever championships that you guys got. It shows that maybe you don't know the person in AEW like that, but he's a champion somewhere else, and that championship is gonna bring, like, oh, he's probably somebody serious, or oh, maybe I should probably check out that promotion too. They need to start doing that. They need to focus on these partnerships because obviously AEW is getting a lot better, having a whole bunch of talent from different companies, competing on their airwaves.
Yeah.
Because let's think about it. We have MLW wrestlers in AEW. We have
Impact,
NWA, New
NWA,
Japan, Impact. The only thing we have Tokyo
AAA.
Joshi Pro. We got Choco Pro, Tokyo Joshi.
Do they still have
and there's
that promotion with what was that?
OVE.
OVE, yeah.
Honestly, nobody even thinks about them motherfuckers no more because there was a big scandal after they debuted in AEW, and that's why you haven't seen any of them left.
Oh wow. Well, either way, they have so many partnerships, and it was just refreshing to finally see, Mox bring out that IWGP United States Championship. It's been like a year he's had this title already, and this is the first time we're seeing it. So with that also being said, this was a historic episode because that was officially having a title from almost every promotion, every major promotion except for WWE and Ring of Honor, if that still counts as a major. But yeah, they've had
MLW.
What was that?
In fact, MLW as well.
Well, they've had stars from every promotion, so in the locker room. So it was, it's very historic what they're doing over there. But we'll get back to Moxley and that whole situation later on in the night. For now, let's just move on to Sammy Guevara, and he's confronting MJF. Goes to the locker room. We got the whole inner circle backstage. I think Jericho was the only one missing in this segment, but MJF pretty much storming in, saying he needs a moment with MJF alone. Everyone, slowly gets up. It's still kind of jarring to me that they even stop and ask MJF if he's gonna be cool. Like, when the fuck did it go from Sammy Guevara being an OG member to this new guy having the same amount, if not more, respect than Sammy? It just doesn't make sense. Not only that, he's done nothing to gain their favor in that way that they would even be concerned leaving Sammy with him and being more concerned for MJF than Sammy.
Well, you gotta understand what Jericho said. If there was something wrong continually, he was gonna break up the inner circle. So I'm pretty sure they're worried about that. And then also MJF is also Jericho's favorite right now since they made, I don't know what team they're calling themselves or whatever, but Les Sex Gods is dead, so
which is definitely something that MJF made mention in this promo. So pretty much he's saying that he's on to MJF. He knows the bullshit he's trying to pull, and MJF tries to lure him to say that he hates Chris Jericho, and he ends up saying it and makes an obvious reference to the fact that he was recording it. So getting caught in the act, this was the final straw for Sammy Guevara. They end up, getting into. I think he threw his phone, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and then broke his rib.
Supposedly broke his rib. Gave him a light ass whooping. Obviously, MJF oversold the shit and making it seem like he literally got injured and Sammy's a fucking animal and whatever the case. Like, it's like I get it. I know we knew what the story was gonna be really from the beginning. I think that's really my only problem with this. Like, not my only, because there's a couple problems with the story, but that's my biggest problem with the story. Everything that's happening, we saw this shit happening from the very beginning. There has been no major swerve that is keeping me invested. I don't know if I'm in the minority in what I'm saying now, but nothing they've said has kept my interest. Nothing they've done has kept my interest since maybe Vegas. That was the last time I was interested in a circle or anything they're doing together. But I'm about ready to move on from this storyline. And one thing I really wanted out of this, happens later on. We'll get to that as we move on. You got anything left to say about this part of the interaction between MJF and Sammy?
No.
All right, so let's move on. And I know this one is going to be big for you. Cody Rhodes and Lee Johnson versus Cesar Bononi, and Peter Avalon, Pretty Peter Avalon. So
PPA. So this is basically a AEW dark storyline where Pretty Peter Avalon and Lee Johnson has been feuding. Recently, Peter Avalon's been commenting about all the male wrestlers and who's the most handsomest and all of that stuff. So he basically thought Lee Johnson was like the top contender to see who was like the most prettiest or whatever. So eventually Lee Johnson won that contest, and it sets up this feud with him and Cesar Bononi as well. So, for the first time ever, it seems like the Nightmare family has decided to back Lee Johnson, and we actually have Cody Rhodes, the head of the Nightmare faction.
It only took about 49 losses and finally a win for Lee.
Well, it wasn't a wrestling match. That's the thing. Lee Johnson didn't win his wrestling match. It was a pretty walkthrough pageant, something like that.
No. But
Something like that.
I'm talking about on this episode of Dynamite. He finally.
Oh no, but I'm saying though, like even before that, before they won this match, it's like Cody Rhodes finally decides to do something with Lee Johnson. Because if you've been watching Dark, you know the only person that's really been in the corner of Lee Johnson is Aaron Solo when they team up. But that's about it. Every time
Aaron Solo's
you see
another
Lee
one who
Johnson,
doesn't get any support from the Nightmare family.
he gets a little something. You know the thing
Probably
is
more
like the
in
Nightmare.
comparison to Lee Johnson.
I mean, well, right now because you know Lee Johnson is the Nightmare family flavor of the month, I guess. So now we got Lee Johnson. You know, it was a great match, a couple bop spotches, but you know, it's whatever. And Lee Johnson was able to pick up the win.
Yeah, so that was a real big moment, and honestly, I'm happy for Lee Johnson. It doesn't really change my idea on the fact that the Nightmare family is the worst stable in AEW, the most unsupportive stable in AEW, and possibly the most pointless stable in AEW. It doesn't change my feeling on that. Happy that he finally got the shine, and they seem to remember that he's actually a part of the team. After the win, Tony Schiavone ends up interviewing Lee Johnson, and the Nightmare family's behind him on the ramp, and he's thanking everybody. He's thanking Cody, thanking Dustin, even thanks Brandy. But he didn't thank QT Marshall, who's standing right behind him. And if you peep QT, he had like a upset kind of look. So I don't know if that's gonna be a storyline thread they're gonna pull on, maybe QT versus Lee Johnson down the line, or something along those lines. But yeah, he stopped to thank all of them, and I'm like, the whole
They didn't
time
do
I'm
nothing
thinking,
for you.
why? Why are you thanking these motherfuckers? They should have joined. They should have at least
Yo,
valeted your ass. At least been with you
they got Nick
ringside.
Camarado a win before Lee Johnson, and Lee Johnson's been in Nightmare Family for about 3-4 months.
Yeah, they listen. We already kind of agree. Nightmare Family is banned from the barbecue for horrible management of their stable, and Arn is double banned from the burgers. And even if he somehow gets into the barbecue, your man's is getting the leftovers. He's getting the third course crumbs, the third course leftovers. Your man's is the worst manager in the worst stable. So yeah, I'm happy for Lee. I hope they keep pushing this guy. Like I think you said it the other day, this man needs to go on 49
Yeah, he
win streak
has to.
now.
Cause think about it, like he lost 29 matches in a row in the past year and a half. Like his
Oh, it's
his
29.
credibility
Okay.
is shot.
Yeah.
It's like with Brandon Cutler and Pretty Peter Avalon. Do you really expect them to win against people? Not really. Not really.
Well, now we can actually debate on whether we believe he'll win or lose.
Yeah.
Now we won't. Hopefully it won't be. He's back to
Yeah,
jobber
hopefully
status.
now he'll face Fuego and he'll win now.
Facts. Um. So let's move on. The next segment is the Young Bucks and the Good Brothers backstage, talking about the Eliminator Battle Royal for the tag team #1 contenderships last week. Young Bucks, talking about how these guys were the Good Brothers were on the outside, eliminating people. They made sure to mention, hey, we didn't eliminate you guys, and the people who actually did eliminate you was proud and powerful. So, we were actually there helping. So they're like, you know what, that's true. And how about we don't wait for Revolution? How about we defend the titles next week? So it's going to be proud and powerful versus the Young Bucks
For no
next week
reason.
on Dynamite. So I think the Bucks are really trying to push for this unification of the Impact Tag Team titles and the AEW Tag Team titles, or really just pushing for this Good Brothers versus Young
I
Bucks
think they
match.
just want to have both tag team titles so they could be the second best tag team in all of space and time.
Yeah, I don't care how many titles they book themselves to win. They'll never be the greatest tag team in space and time. But yeah, so that segment pretty much setting up that title match next week, which I'm very happy. Finally, Proud and Powerful is doing something. My Puerto Rican brothers need some shine. Like, that's another thing with this inner circle shit. I feel like they put the spotlight on the right people for a few weeks, then kind of forget about them and alter the entire purpose of the faction. And it's like, more than anybody, Proud and Powerful has been suffering in the sidelines. Like, you've had multiple tag teams start within that group, and these guys who came in as the legitimate tag team, indie legends, they can't even get a consistent storyline to stay in title contention.
Like,
Like,
yo,
it's ridiculous.
if I was PMP, I would be thinking about leaving AEW soon.
Yeah, they probably would have. Honestly, we probably get a lot of hate mail. If so, send that to EA. That's E.A on Twitter. He's not on this episode, so please flood the inbox with all the hate mail. But they should have went to NXT. They probably would have been treated better. Ironically,
Probably.
they could think about it. NXT right now, all they have is Undisputed Era, Imperium. Well, they're not even Imperium. They're fused into that new stable, but they got the old Bucks or the fake Bucks over there. But other than that, NXT kind of
the Canna Bucks.
The what? The Canna Bucks, yeah, whatever they are. There's not a lot of tag teams, so they would have been thriving in this situation that a lot of people got called up. NXT needs more tag teams. They probably would have been the top of that card. So I don't know. A lot of people's like, every time someone gets released, so contract is up, go to AEW. It's not the perfect fit for everyone. And right now, I'm just waiting to see Proud and Powerful shine. So hopefully this starts leaning towards that direction.
Yeah, hopefully.
All right. So any last thoughts on that segment?
Yeah. As far as unification, I don't think they're kind of trying to go to unification. I feel like they're trying to do what they did in Ring of Honor and New Japan and have both of the tag team and both of the tag team titles in their possession and such. They're trying to emulate that again.
Yeah, probably. They it's funny because they kind of harp on a lot of the nostalgia of the things they did in the past, and it's like, you guys haven't even been technically in the national spotlight long enough to keep going back to your nostalgia things you used to do or you've done before. Like, you really got to be reaching for your day one fans that have watched you through all these different promotions. But a lot of stuff they do is homage to the past.
Yeah.
So let's move on from that segment. We have Adam Page being pursued by Matt Hardy and the Dark Order. So obviously, Dark Order still having this awkward situation where they still love Hangman Page on this strictly platonic wanna be friends situation. And Matt Hardy starting to pursue Hangman too, trying to team up with him. So what do you think about this? Like, I don't know where the direction is heading on this. I feel like Hangman should have just joined the Dark Order. I feel like if he ends up joining, it's like, for what now? Me personally, I feel like that. And as far as Matt is like, Hangman's not gonna be somebody you're gonna be able to sign something and manipulate like that. So unless this is leading to a feud between them two, I don't really see where this is going.
I don't know where it's going either, because it's like you can't sign contracts when you're under influence like that, especially if it's being documented by a camera.
Right.
So whatever,
And Hangman's always
whatever
drunk.
Hangman wrote, if it's his own name, it's probably invalidated. But I don't think that he did sign his name. I think he put "eat a dick" or something. And Hardy, because you didn't notice, Hardy didn't even look at the paperwork. He just folded it up, put it in his jacket, and that was it.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's whatever. I guess having big money Matt, trying to get a whole bunch of other people. I feel like he could have done it with somebody else who needs Probably a little bit of sign.
Yeah, that's my thing. It feels weird that he's, targeting Hangman